channel. If you're new here, I'm Cassie, and I am here to help you start and grow your nonprofit. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I appreciate you guys. So today we're talking about a super important topic: staying legally compliant as a nonprofit. I know. If you're thinking, what forms do I need to file to keep my nonprofit exempt? How do I make sure I don't lose my nonprofit? And what are the reporting requirements for a nonprofit? Maybe you're in the right place. So let me go step by step, making sure that your nonprofit stays 100% legal and in good standings. Let's talk about it. Why is being legally compliant so crucial for nonprofit? You're probably wondering, why? Why is it so important that I track everything? Number one, it keeps your nonprofit exempt. If you want to keep that status, you need to make sure that everything is legally compliant. It helps you stay qualified for grants and donations. It protects your nonprofits from fines and legal troubles. Let me say it again. It protects your nonprofit from fines and legal troubles. The fines can be huge when you mess up. I want you to know that over 50,000 people, 50,000 nonprofits lose their status every year because they are not following the right forms. We don't want that to be you. We don't want that to be us. So, what are we going to do to make sure that we are always in compliance? Here are key documents every nonprofit must file in order to stay compliant. For your nonprofit to stay compliant, you need the following documents every year. IRS Form 990, annual tax return for nonprofits. You have to file it every year, whether you make $1 billion, $1 gajillion, or you make $5. You have to file it. This tells the IRS how much money your nonprofit is making. How was it spent? What did you do with the money? They want to know. What did you do with the money? This is due every year by May 15th. Let me say it again, because the date never changed. This is due every year by May 15th. The date never changed. You also need to file your state annual report. That's your nonprofit renewal for your state. Many states require nonprofits to renew their registration each year. In South Carolina, where I am, it is done through Secretary of State. So that's how I will make sure that it is always filed. Number 3. I know I had a 2 up there. Stay with me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Charitable solicitation registration. What is that? Charitable solicitation registration. You need to make sure that you have that so that you can do fundraising. If you're raising donations from the public, there's a good chance that you need to be registered as a charity in your state. Check with your state. Most states have state charity divisions. In South Carolina, they have one because it is a requirement to file. And if you want those South Carolina links, tell me, babes, and I'll make sure to share them with y'all. Or if you want another state, maybe I'll create a website where I will have all this documentation listed for you, because sometimes it's hard to find, and that can be discouraging in itself. So if you want that information, let me know. Now make sure to create a space where you can access that information. Now, we're going to talk about understanding the IRS 990 form. Why do I need to understand this form, Cassie? I know that's what you're saying. There is more than one. There is the 990, there is the 990 easy, and there is the 990 in. Which one is for you? Okay, so the 990 in is for those who make less than $50,000 a year. It's just a 5-minute online form. The $9.90 easy, that's for nonprofits that make $50,000 to $200,000 a year. And the full $9.90 is for those who make over $200,000 a year for your nonprofit, whether it be donations, grants, fundraising. Where is this money? What did you do with it? They need to know. It can be filed online. The form can be filed online, right? And then I will share the link to the form if you need it, so that you have it for your records. Bookmark everything, boo. Create a folder, whether it be Google, Edge, whatever browser that you're using. Create a folder and just keep these documentations. Keep the documents. Now we're going to talk about, I know we keep talking about money. I know I keep talking about money. It's important. Stick with me. Financial transparency and keeping good records. Why do I need to keep good records? Because what are you doing with this money? You're asking people for money. Where is the money going? Everyone needs to know. The people that give the money, the government needs to know what you're doing with that money. So you need to make sure you keep amazing records, document everything. And I promise you, there's a really good place that you can use to document everything, and we'll share it as I go, right? Number 1, keep detailed financial records. Income, expenses, donations. Income, expenses, donations. You need to keep really good records of those. Number 2, we talked about this in the first video. We're going to circle back. You need a separate bank account for this nonprofit. You and this nonprofit cannot share a bank account. Okay. You and this nonprofit cannot share a bank account. 2 separate bank accounts. One for you, one for the nonprofit. I think you want me to say it again. And that's okay. One for you, and then one for the nonprofit. They also want to know, how are you tracking donations that are used? There are certain grants that you apply for that are going to need a detailed list of everything you spent that money on. And you better have it. You need to make sure that if you are not a good tracker of things, that you get into the habit of really being a great tracker of things. Especially if you want to be a nonprofit, because they need to know where that money is going at all times. Especially if you're applying for grants, especially if you're working with corporate sponsorships, especially if you're getting donations from just small donations, grassroots, those GoFundMes. Where is this money going? So you need to make sure that you are an amazing keeper of documents and records. You have to make sure that you are keeping records of everything. Some of the most amazing tools that you can use, especially for nonprofit, is QuickBook for nonprofit and Wave accounting. Those are the 2 that I suggest. If you want, I will have a link for you to sign up. It's up to you, but those are 2 of the best ones that you can use for nonprofit. Now, like every video, towards the end, we talk about common mistakes. Common legal mistakes that can get your nonprofit in trouble. Do you want to be in trouble? I don't want you to be in trouble. So I'm going to tell you some of these mistakes so that you can avoid them. This is the big one. Not filing your 990, you will lose your 501c3. Let me say it again. When you don't file your 990, you will no longer be tax exempt. That needs to be filed annually, whether you want to or not. That has to be filed in order to keep your tax exempt status. Here's another thing that can get you in big trouble. Using nonprofit funds for personal expenses. Baby, you said you had a cause. You said you were giving back. You said you were a world changer. Why are you buying a Benz? This money is supposed to go for the purpose that you requested the money for. Be a person of character, good character. Be a person of integrity, and use the funds for what you say you're going to use them for. Be that world changer. It is illegal. Also, if you take that money and you use that nonprofit money to fund your life, you're going to jail. You heard it from me first. You're going to jail and you're going to be fined. Don't use that money for personal expenses because that's not what it's for. You said you wanted to change the world. Use that money for the passion project. Another thing that can get you in trouble: failing to renew your nonprofit in your state. Every year you're going to be like, hey, for example, me, hey, South Carolina, we're still doing this. We're still rocking and rolling. We're still, trying to fix housing disparities. In my case, we're still doing this. You got to let them know that you are still a charitable organization and you still want to remain registered. It is extremely important, or you can lose your nonprofit. One of the last ones that we're going to talk about, the thing that could really get you in trouble is not having a conflict of interest policy. What is that? We talked about it in video 3. You can go back and take a look. If you want me to break down just what is a conflict of interest policy in a separate video, separate little 5-minute video, I will. Comment. Now I'll make sure to, break that down for you. Board members should not be used for personal gain. Don't put anybody on your board that is going to abuse the privileges that your nonprofit has. Plain and simple. Don't put anybody on your board that doesn't understand your vision, doesn't understand how you are now a world changer. And by the way, the IRS will audit you if you're not being honest. Because again, they want to know what you're doing with the money. My suggestion: have a good CPA. Have an accountant review your nonprofit finances at least once a year to ensure that you are doing what you said you're going to do in the way that you said you're going to do it, so that you don't get in trouble, we don't get in trouble, and you can still keep your nonprofit and continue to do the work that you absolutely love. Now that we talked about the mistakes to avoid, now that we talked about ways to stay legally compliant, what we need to talk about next is how to scale your nonprofit. And we are going to do that in the next video, and I will see you there, babes. I appreciate you for sticking with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are here changing the world.